You join me now in Lukovo, Croatia. It's been a busy few weeks, shooting that sequence in the Lake District, then in Venice, and then now here in Croatia. And I'm actually here shooting some film for another upcoming Moment video, so get subscribed to the channel so you don't miss that one when it comes out. The camera that I've been filming all this video on, of course, is the Sony A7C II. And I've only had this for like just over half a year, and I actually replaced my Sony A7S III with this camera. And part of the reason that I did that was to get a few of the better autofocus features and display assist features. But of course, you do make a trade-off in low light sensitivity and also in having the ability to shoot in full frame 50p and 100p. But for me, that trade-off is actually worth it, considering how compact this setup is when you're trying to fit everything inside one bag for travel. In terms of the settings that I'm shooting in on the A7C II, I'm of course shooting in log, and I'm shooting in S-Log3. And in camera, I'm actually using a monitoring LUT, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. And usually I'm setting my stabilization to active. And I'm actually setting the specific focal length that I'm shooting at most of the time. Rather than changing focal lengths mid-shot and zooming in with the lens, I try and treat it much more like a set of primes on a zoom lens. So if you set it to 35, also set the stabilization manually to 35mm. And I find that gives me the best results out of the A7C II, especially when you're moving quickly and you're not always shooting on a tripod. My travel zoom lens that you're actually watching me on right now is the Sony 20 to 70mm f4. This goes from like an ultra wide 20mm all the way up to 70, and then when you crop in with APS-C and clear image zoom, it takes you to like 150mm equivalent. So in terms of being able to keep one lens on your camera for travel filmmaking, this does everything you need without ever needing to change lenses. And as a bonus, it fits in quite comfortably alongside another camera inside my Moment 4L sling, which you can find a link for in the description below. Of course, this lens is an f2.8, and that might seem a little bit counterintuitive to even go for an f4 lens for specifically photography and filmmaking in a one lens kit. But for me, f4, as you can see right now, has a pleasing amount of background blur, and I rarely want to completely blow out a background so I can't see any detail in the background. I'd rather have like that f4, f5.6, so we can still kind of get the context of where we are. And yes, it might seem a little bit like we're not getting enough light in the lens with this camera, but still the A7C II in S-Log3 has a dual native ISO of ISO 800 and ISO 3200. And I found with this f4 lens and a mixture of ND filters, I rarely have a hard time exposing unless I'm in very, very dark situations. With this lens, I'm actually shooting with a couple of different filters as well. So I've got a Cinebloom 5% on the front of the lens most of the time, but I also have a 10% in my bag when I'm shooting in slightly lower light situations. Then I'm also using the Moment VND 2 to 5 stops most of the time, as we are right now. Then I also have the 6 to 9 stops, which actually comes in really handy when you're shooting in broad daylight, as I was earlier today in Lukovo. For color grading all of the footage you're seeing in this video, I've actually been using Serr's new Film Vision Pro color grading suite for Davinci Resolve. I've actually used Film Vision 1 and Film Vision 2, but Film Vision Pro is definitely the more finely tuned version. And for creating all the looks you're seeing in this video, it's literally just like a plug and play, choosing the looks you want with really high level film emulation. And you can also find that on the Moment store, so we'll drop another link for that in the description as well. I've also just started experimenting with Film Vision Pro on the DJI Pocket 3, which I've been shooting with a little bit for this upcoming film video. So if you're interested in seeing a cinematic Pocket 3 video on the channel, drop a comment below and let us know. And if you're interested in learning how to shoot in log footage on your normal iPhone without buying the Pro iPhone, go check out this video here. It'll tell you everything you need to know.